All right, my key takeaways from the markets today. Well, first of all, the markets hit resistance exactly where I thought they might do. I'll get into the charts later, but essentially the S&P and the Dow Jones, their resistance marked the high, which then led the Nasdaq to hit its high. So it's the S&P and the Dow Jones really that created the resistance for the Nasdaq. And the Russell also, this descending line also acted as resistance. So really perfect stuff technically. That's my first point. Otherwise, the KRE, very weak. Straight away retraced the whole move and some more very bearish engulfing stuff. Not the most bearish engulfing candle, but pretty damn bearish. Just closed below yesterday's open. I mean, I thought this would take 1 or 2 days to go back down. This is the perfect day. You have any follow through tomorrow, which we might just have, and we're back into the under 41 zone, and a close, like I said, below 40.5 would really do it for me. And I think it's going to happen. But look, Wednesday is the big day. Wednesday, we have ADP, ISM, FOMC, the three big numbers. So I don't actually expect too much tomorrow. It'll probably be just some sort of sideways light volume day, but still, the technicals must be respected. But again, Wednesday will be the decider. If you start to see some massive closes like the KRE closing below 40 on Wednesday, that's it. It's technically and fundamentally weak, and that's all she wrote. But otherwise, okay, that's the KRE. I also wanted to bring up the DXY, so the dollar index, very strong. Right, I said this was a bit of a head fake, possibly, and then today we had some wild swings actually pre-market, and even just as the market opened, the dollar sort of retraced a lot of its move, and gold and silver just spiked. I'll get into all this anyway. And then gold and silver retraced the whole move and some, which made it quite bearish actually, especially because the close was very weak, especially for the minus. I'll show that later. What else though? The rates were up. Something to mention across the board is that in preparation of Wednesday. But normally now when rates are up, bonds are down, obviously, and that usually means market is up. But actually, that wasn't the case. The markets were, well, flat. That's really, really flat. That's as flat as it gets. That's unchanged. But still, you'd expect it to be up according to the current momentum. With bonds down, market usually goes up. So yeah, those are the 4 points I wanted to bring up as an intro. Market hitting resistance where I thought it would, the KRE, the bank index, the regional small bank index being weak, the dollar being strong, rates going up. Also, Bitcoin smashed down almost 5%. I'm not sure why. Must be news, but I'm not sure why. This is starting to look like a very strange head and shoulders, but this is the neckline. It's all about this 26,500, a close below that, and we go lower. There are also 1 or 2 crypto stocks. What I mean by that is Coinbase in particular. Go on, I'll show it real quick. That one is starting to look pretty weak. Where is it? Here it is. Look at that. It's as if it's already taken out 26,500 if you equate it to the Bitcoin's chart, and off to visit its lows. Maybe that's had some pretty bad news, or it's been in the headlines for negative reasons, I would say, for the last couple of weeks. Well, a couple of weeks ago, but I don't know if that even plays a role. But just technically, look at this. Close. Well, actually, the close it had today was pretty bad. So if Bitcoin does close below 26,500, you could have Coinbase lead the way down, and then go other stocks like MicroStrategy. And then we've got the actual miners, the crypto miners, the Maras, the Riots. They're still holding up okay compared to Coinbase, but still they could start going down. So that was something else I wanted to bring up. Uranium, finally. I don't know why I'm doing everything now in one go, but why not change the format for once? Uranium looking weak. Well, not weak. It's just retraced it was looking quite good actually as of yesterday, but I'm really looking forward to a drop here because I haven't got any uranium. I would love a flush. So I was just interested in uranium. Copper, on the other hand, actually had a move up because otherwise commodities were down pretty much across the board. So yeah, that's that's pretty much everything in one go. Let me go into slightly more detail. So S&P, as I just mentioned, tagged this resistance. Let's see what happens. I think we move lower because generally speaking, I always think that we should be going lower. It's all about Wednesday anyway, so no point in looking into it too much. But I'm just very happy that it tagged this and didn't close above it. So we should go lower tomorrow, even though it's a light volume day waiting for tomorrow, waiting for Wednesday. Nasdaq should follow. So I'd expect to move lower, nothing too crazy for the same reasons. Dow Jones, just like the S&P, move lower, nothing too absurd, maybe 33,800 or something. Russell 2000, yeah, a move lower. This one's going to be very interesting if we have any follow through lower after Wednesday. I mean, this could really start attacking its 168 and eventually the low 160s. Yeah, I'm still watching the KRE really when it comes to Russell. But actually, interestingly, today, despite the KRE being down almost 3%, Russell was flat like everything else. And, you could say slightly, well, it was flat, but, you'd expect it to be down more than the others and down like 1% at least when the KRE is down almost 3%. So kind of outperformed what it usually does relative to the KRE. Okay, let's look at financials. XLF down, nothing too much. It's more of the seniors. Obviously, had JP Morgan up decently today because, it's the lucky winner as usual. Absolute fiasco. For me, this is just outrageous, making the biggest banks even bigger and rewarding them. It's just, it's disgusting stuff. But anyway, that explains the XLF not being as down as the others. KBE, look at that. That looks pretty weak, doesn't it? Just like the KRE. It might even look weaker than the KRE. No, it doesn't. Still, it's just one day away from equaling the KRE. Here, one more drop, and we're going to be sort of testing 35, a close below 35, and we instantly test the lows, a close below the lows. It's done, but the KRE will probably decide it anyway. That just takes one more day to test the absolute low, and a close below 40.5 for me, just because of the psychological number, but especially 40, a close below 40. That might have to wait until the Wednesday post FOMC. But think about it, you got ADP, ISM, and then FOMC. You could have some wild swings, but it's always about the close. Okay, so that's the markets. Let's look at interest rates very quickly. So I already mentioned they're up. Look at the 1 year. That's always the stronger one. To be honest, after this massive collapse, I'm very impressed by how it's returned to where it should be, actually, because rates are going up. This needs to catch up with the Fed's funds rate. So, I think we're going to be attacking 5% tomorrow, maybe, definitely Wednesday. I think the Fed will raise by 25 because they mentioned that to Zelensky, to who they thought was Zelensky on that fake phone call. But even before that, I did think that they were going to do another 25 basis points. And it looks like they want to do 2 times 25. So next month also. So yeah, if that does happen, I think we're going to attack 5%. Whether we do it tomorrow or Wednesday, I don't know. But I think that's what's going to happen. That's definitely what the chart suggests. Plus, we've already attacked it before. The 2-year, well, why not test this again? Looks like, I wasn't sure, yesterday, I'm looking at this red candle from Friday. I wasn't sure whether it was overdone. And then I sort of decided, nah, it's, we've retested, we've held, and it's just, it can go either way. And after today's move and the fact that it's across the board, not just for 1 or 2 of the years rates, it's really 1, 2, 5, 10, 30 that all went up strong. These are big, strong moves. So to me, indicates we're looking to test the next resistance, which, by the way, we already tested, so it's not that dramatic. So for me, 2-year, we're going to test 4.26. 5 years going to test. It's time to add the horizontals. Let's just call it 3.8 or just below. Let's just do a bit of an average. 3.78 or something. The 10-year, yeah, I already drew that one in, so that will be testing 3.65. Might even close above it, actually. Be very interesting to see what happens on post FOMC. That will really decide the direction. I mean, if we start closing above 3.65 post Wednesday, maybe even above 3.7, let's be honest. Straight away, we're testing 4 again on the 10-year. And, yeah, then it's back to the old momentum where rates are going up, which is what I enjoyed, actually. I enjoyed that period. Obviously, I enjoyed the chaos of the banks going down, but it was just it made more sense to me. Rates were going up because the Fed was raising rates, and then all of a sudden rates crash because people buy bonds because of fear. I mean, I understand that, but it didn't really make sense too because rates are going up. So I don't know. I prefer that sort of more understandable move. So anyway, I just feel like rates will go up, and it's all about the close post Wednesday. Wow, the 30-year actually breached this horizontal. I didn't know that. That's really interesting, and it also confirms what I think is going to happen. So if the 1 year is looking strong and the 30-year is looking strong, I think everything sandwiched in between will also act in accordance. So yeah, I guess the next is 4% on the 30-year. Wow, that's pretty good actually. That's interesting. So yeah, it looks like rates held their lows in the end. That's very interesting. And the EU yields not as strong. That's also interesting. The British ones are. Okay, well, there you go. I just feel like yields will go up tomorrow, and you never know, but Wednesday too. Normally the bond market is correct. Out of all the other markets, the bond market is usually one that's correct. Let's look at the dollar. Dollar following rates, which it used to do, up. Now, I think if I go 3 minutes, you can see, where are we? Yeah, we had a drop and then a pop, and we ended up much higher than where we dropped from. So back to the daily, strong day for the DXY. And also when you have a drop and then a massive move up to new highs, that's really flushing out the weak hand. So for me, that was strong. Plus, we've closed higher than we've closed a long time. Now, I did say we want that close. Well, actually, I want it to drop, but if we have a close above 102 point, you know what I mean? This line here, 2325, gone, just to be sure. Then the dollar is going to move up to here. Now, for me, it's almost already guaranteed because we've had our first real close above this descending. I just wanted that close above the horizontal because it's just be extra confirmation. But to me, it's pretty, and plus think about what's happened. We've come all the way back down. We're double bottoming at a psychological number. If we lose this, we go all the way down. So you can at least expect a small bounce. So for me, there's like 2, 3, or maybe even 4 reasons for this to continue. So I reckon DXY will go up a little more. But again, what happens Wednesday if he comes out and says 25 basis points, which I think the market should have priced in, but if he indicates another 25 and the market's not ready for that during the Q&A after the statement, then maybe the dollar just goes even higher. I don't know. You never know what's going to happen during a news event. But to me, technically looks strong. It looks like it's going to go higher. I'm not going to bother with the currencies. Just keep it simple with DXY. Okay, let's look at commodities. Copper, I mentioned, was strong, definitely strong compared to the other commodities. So bouncing off this support, very nice. I don't know how much high. Look, a lot of resistance. It gave back a lot. But I mean, look, if it tries again, resistance around 412, 413, definitely 420. But it's going to take a lot to go all the way back up here because it's just flushed that zone. So it kind of tagged prior support. There's nothing too clear here, but you can see this is sort of acted as resistance, prior support. It's very, very zoomed in support and resistance. But yeah, to me, it would take a lot to close above 412, 420. So at least it bounced though, and definitely outperformed the others. Natural gas, just still going sideways. I mean, it was a bit of a down day, 2.75% pretty much, but that's nothing too dramatic for natural gas. We've seen some much wilder swings. To me, it's a sideways day. But again, yesterday we had a nice move up, but there was lots of resistance from that high it made. So there was a bit of continuation of the selling today, but still didn't go below yesterday's low of the day. So for me, overall sideways, not bearish, not bullish, but the longer it hangs around here, the more bearish it is, because you've got to break out and have some follow through. Otherwise you just look bearish at this point. Okay, let's look at oil. Oil, I think, is consolidating. It's just sort of making a sideways consolidation here in the mid 70s. So this is a nice accumulation zone for a move back up to 80s. That's what I think. Can it go lower? Yes, obviously, but I don't think it will. I think that it's the supply demand side of it. The OPEC coalition, let's say, that decided to cut production, sent it from where it is now all the way up to 80. So we've retraced all the way back down. You would expect it to go back up now. So for me, oil, a bit of a sideways day, a bit like natural gas, should go up. Yeah, that's what I think. Uranium, as I mentioned in the intro, a drop. It looked very bullish, not very bullish. It looked relatively bullish as of Friday's close, because we're looking for this triple breakout of this horizontal zone. But look, we gave back a bit. Certainly not bearish, because giving back after this nice 3 or 4 day move up is normal. So, but we're just getting tighter, Let's just see. Let's see what happens. Just wondering whether I control this. Yes, I can. Good. That's more information to go by. It's just getting very, very tight now for uranium. Let's see which way it breaks out. And if it breaks down, then lucky me, I can finally buy. I did see some uranium stocks, show very quickly. Some uranium stocks were absolutely destroyed today. Here they are. Some that I have on my watch list: 3, 2, 5, 7, 5, 5, 6%. The one I like the most, CCJ, that was actually up. So that's the benefit of having seniors. It's really like the metals, the miners, some seniors can be green whilst the juniors are just getting destroyed. But to be honest, normally you'd expect the seniors down 1 or 2% too, when the juniors are down 5, 6, 7%. But that's what I'm looking for, a smash in some of these uranium juniors and then buy them. But I would prefer to buy some seniors as I dip my toes in the uranium waters. Okay, so that's uranium. Now let's look at gold and silver. Yeah, little weak today. It was very strong pre-market. You can see this here on the 3-minute, especially silver. Silver's up 3.5%. I remember there was some indications on Twitter that there was going to be some May the 1st silver squeeze buying. I don't know if that played a role. I don't really know why silver just went crazy. It went up 3.5% at some point. Everyone on Twitter saying, this is it, rookie mistake. I understand why they get excited, but just wait. The day is young. It happens a lot. Even me sometimes on pre-market videos, straight away, 1 or 2 hours later, the whole thing's reversed. I don't know whether it was May 1st silver squeeze buying, the rumors of it, or was it the dollar going down? I mean, the dollar was dropping a little bit, but it seemed really crazy. And, again, I'm referring to this silver. This is a big move for silver, but look what happened. We traced the whole thing. And gold, exactly the same thing. I mean, yes, it's a little higher, but, just retrace the whole thing. Very disappointing, anticlimactic moment. For the miners, no, I'll get to that later. Let's just look at the daily chart. I want to keep it a bit structured. So as you can see, resistance still 2010, because we did cross that 2000 zone, 2006 or something. I said very clearly, for me, it's 2010. You know what? It's not 2010. It's actually 2016 or whatever this is, and definitely 2020. Yeah, 2015, let's say, a close, not just going, visiting, touching it and going back down again, a close above 2015 or 2020, just to be completely certain, for me is, we're back on. Likewise, a close below 1970 is okay. Now we're going to go back down to like 1935. but we didn't have either. Although we went up and down, we are still sideways within that channel. I would say slightly bearish because of what I think is going to happen to the dollar, which is another move higher. I think tomorrow, the thing is, if there was no Wednesday FOMC, ADP, ISM, then I would say we're going lower tomorrow. Like there'll be a continuation, a bit of a move lower, maybe a close below 1970. The DXY breaks out a little bit more. And then with toast, we're going to go down a bit more. But because I know what's coming on Wednesday, and because everyone knows what's coming on Wednesday, maybe we're not allowed to drop just yet. Maybe you need that FOMC, that Wednesday data hurricane. So gold, I'm just going to say sideways, a little bit weak, but it's irrelevant because Wednesday is coming up. Silver, look at this rejection. This is usually very, very bearish. It is actually bearish. It just looks completely out of place. I mean, look, similar over here, and then look what happened. Bam. But again, Wednesday's coming up. Silver was very, very bullish compared to gold. It's up 3.5%. And to close flat, can't say that's incredibly bearish, but still, what a lot of resistance. It's very rare that you see a candle like this, and then the next day it's all the way up. So I think tomorrow we're gonna have a sideways day where we go a bit lower, maybe, but I don't expect us to be closing below 24.50, which to me is the same as gold closing below 1970. So you do not want to see a close below that. Otherwise, you should be seeing silver go lower. But I can't imagine it going too high tomorrow. And whatever happens tomorrow, probably a sideways day, it'd be very hard to imagine a move up on Wednesday with a candle like this so close. But that's definitely possible because Wednesday should be fireworks. So I really can't wait to see Wednesday. But for now, serious rejection. I think we'll see a sideways, slightly down day tomorrow. And again, it's all about Wednesday. GDX, really bearish looking candle, even though it wasn't down too much. Obviously, I had to follow gold and silver. For me, this is still sideways. I mean, look what happened the last time we had a candle like this. You had then the opposite, a bullish sort of reversal looking candle. And we could very well get that tomorrow too. So for me, we're just sort of holding this general line. The line's already drawn, so nothing else to say. I'm not going to say this is resistance. No, let's just see what happens tomorrow. Like I said, with gold and silver, it depends, especially Wednesday's close. GDXJ a bit more bearish, went down almost twice as much, closed at low of day, very ugly stuff. But again, I'd be looking for a close below 39 to be extra bearish to suggest we're going lower, but because of what's coming on Wednesday, you could easily get washed out on the short side too. I will finish with Bitcoin, even though I've sort of refrained from discussing it recently. Big drop, don't know why. I don't know why. I'm sure there's some news event. I still think this neckline is very important. This will definitely move. I don't know about tomorrow, maybe some sideways, goes to low 27,000s, but for me, the line in the sand on the way down, 26,500. Will it move on Wednesday? Absolutely. With ADP, ISM, and FOMC, it will move. If it starts to close below 26,500 for whatever reason, down we go. I don't know why it moved down though. Yeah, and 30,000 seems to be pretty strong resistance. So this is a very strange looking head and shoulders pattern, but I think all you need to do is look at the neckline here. Anyway, that'll do. Tomorrow, let's see. I don't expect anything too crazy tomorrow because, light volume and everyone's waiting for Wednesday, but very interesting moves today. Okay, cool.